Introduce myself. I used to work at Google, then ran my startup FutureCamp, then worked as CTO of a startup. I now work as a consulting CTO with multiple companies. Today we are going to talk about object destruction. Different languages call it different things. Java calls it finalization. Swift calls it deinitialization. Right? Whatever the name is, we'll explore the underlying concepts which are independent of any language. Let's look at this class frame producer, which keeps producing frames or images, a sequence of them. You create a frame producer, then it gives you a frame, then one more, and so on, right? Until you stop it. So it has a stop recording function. And many classes need to have a function of this type. In Java, we often call it close, and we even have a closable interface. Which has a single function close. So files and a lot of resources have a close function. And of course, you can call it whatever you want. In our case, we call it stop recording. Don't rely on garbage collection or object destruction to stop something that should be stopped. Because in garbage collected languages, the finalizer may get invoked much later. So if you have a file in Java and you want to close the file in the finalizer, don't do that. It can be deallocated seconds later, minutes later, whenever it is, right? So that could be too late. In fact, Java doesn't guarantee that finalizers will ever be invoked. Some languages don't use garbage collection. They use reference counting like Swift. And reference counting is more predictable than garbage collection because each variable gets deallocated when the last reference goes away. Let's see if we can find an example here. So for example, you're creating this object, AV capture photo bracket settings. In this function, take bracket if needed. Now, assuming no one has a reference to this will get deallocated immediately at the end of this function here. And if someone does have a reference to it, this will get deallocated when that someone gets deallocated. Point is, it's deterministic. It is predictable rather than garbage collection, which can happen anytime after that, right? So garbage collection means objects are deleted anytime after the last reference goes away. Reference counting means that objects are deleted exactly when the last reference goes away. But even then, don't count on that. Because what happens is it's very easy to capture a reference to an object unknowingly. It's very hard to debug these things. So if you have a closure, for example, here, this captures all the variables of the object self, right? So it's very easy to accidentally capture things. And languages don't help you figure out that this is happening. And even if they do, you don't want to focus on such trivial details, right? So point is, have an explicit stop function. Don't rely on deinit. So don't couple any actions you need to take like stopping recording to deinitialization. Have a stop recording function. Ask people to call it. Stops the recording. Don't get rid of this function and just do it in deinit. But in addition to the function, do it in deinit. Just in case someone forgets to stop recording, forgets to call the function, at least the deinitializer will call it. So this is like an added level of safety. Let's see what else we are doing in deinitializers. So here we have a video burst recorder. It records a video. And in deinitialization, it deletes the file to which it has recorded because it's no longer needed. This class mode represents the modes you would have in a camera app, like time-lapse mode, video mode, photo mode, etc. And if you're recording a video and you go to the background, the app stops recording the video. So for that, we have a background observer. This is something iOS invokes when the app goes to the background. But when the mode is deinitialized, the observer needs to be removed. So that is again something that's done here. Right? You can look for more examples, but this is the concept of deinitialization and how to use it effectively. I hope this was useful. If you'd like me to work with your team in improving code quality, there's a link in the description.